Oh, son of a... Sadly, there won't be any making fun of this doddering old fool. For the 9th time this month, Joe Biden takes off a full day of campaigning. Now, you gotta understand, when you're running for president, dog catcher, or Senate, mayor, Congress, you sort of keep a full day of campaigning on the schedule. Why? Well, you're running for frickin' office. It almost seems like there's something up. And of course there is. I've made many videos bashing this demented old fool, and he's going to take a day off. Oh my God. The Biden campaign called a lid on the campaign trail by 9:20 a.m. Thursday morning, meaning the 77-year-old, close to octogenarian Biden will not make any in-person or media appearances for the rest of the day. This marks the 9th day this month the campaign has halted access to their candidate before noon, with only 40 days to go until the November 3rd election. From Zeke Miller on Twitter, Biden has called a lid on for the day. Matt Visor, as of 9:20 a.m., Joe Biden's campaign called a lid, meaning he won't be holding any public events today. He said yesterday that today would be dedicated to debate preparations, telling reporters, "I've started to prepare, but I haven't really gotten into it heavily." Yeah, because you're out of your freaking mind there, tough guy. Despite the campaign's claim that Biden is beginning formal debate prep on Thursday, lids were still issued on 8 other days in September without explanation or a specific reason. That's exactly right. So he's debate preparing. Okay, you can't necessarily do that all day when you're 77 years old. But just look at Trump. Look what he's doing. Every single day he's holding something. He's tweeting. He's making appearances. He's doing his press conferences. If you want to know what Joe Biden thinks, it's hard to know because he's keeping a lid on it. You know what Trump is thinking because he's always out there. For the good or better. Ed O'Keefe, today, at Joe Biden's campaign called a lid for the day at 9:20 a.m. He has no public events on the schedule, but on Wednesday he said that his formal debate prep would begin today. Why didn't it begin yesterday? No good day like today. Eddie Zipper. He said yesterday that he hasn't gotten heavily into debate prep yet. That's a lot of lids over a long period of time for somebody who hasn't gotten heavily into it. And this is from a retweet from the same guy. Biden took a few cues from reporters on the tarmac before boarding his plane to NC. Question, how are you preparing for the debates? Have you started mock debates? I have started to prepare, but I haven't gotten into it really heavily. I will begin tomorrow. Doesn't sound like he's really getting into it. But just wait till next week. Oh, just wait till next week. It's going to be like the Super Bowl of debates. We'll see. Because they're going to have to juice that mofo up with a bunch of stuff like vitamin B12, cocaine maybe. Who knows what this guy's going to be juiced up on. Because I guarantee it, if you saw it from yesterday when he was talking about his son being, dare I say, investigated for malfeasance in China and Ukraine, he about flipped his freaking lid. He didn't close his lid that day. While President Donald Trump spent a month traveling around the nation hosting rallies as well as managing his presidential duties, including historic peace deals and nominating a Supreme Court justice, Biden's campaign called a lid more than one-third of the 24 days currently in September, halting his public activities and availability for the entire day. What does this look like to you guys? I know what it looks like to me. This looks like that he is sick. That's what it sounds like to me, that he can't be out today. Oh, he's sort of doing debate prep. Well, you better get on the ball there, tough guy, because I want to see a good show. Joe Concha. Joe Biden's campaign is called a lid on the day. No events, no questions. September has seen a pattern of Biden taking about every third day off with lid announcements coming in the morning. I've never heard of that term, lid. Well, you just say he's taking the day off. But you can't say that because I guess, taking the day off and putting a lid on it is, a euphemism and euphemistic talk and whatever. Overall, Biden has called 9 lids in 24 days in September. We're less than 6 weeks to the election. President Trump again has packed his schedule today, culminating with the event in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a rally in Jacksonville, Florida tonight. Wow. For a 73-year-old guy, the president, he sure gets around. I mean, I know that if I was going to fly to Charlotte, North Carolina, speak, and then fly to Jacksonville, Florida, go out and speak, that's a lot of time in the air, a lot of time on the ground, a lot of time in a car, a lot of time preparing. And as far as I know, he doesn't really use, I think he uses notes, but not really a teleprompter. That tells you something. The lids, reported by those covering on the campaign trail, are often called on short notice instead of announced as part of the campaign schedule. He must be sick. Or he must be ill. Let's be honest. He's ill. The frequency and lack of a notification of the lids until the last minute raises questions about Biden's ability to campaign, especially on days when there would normally be ample opportunity for Democratic campaign to make headway, such as passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And from Scott Adams, I'm no political campaign expert, but wouldn't a presidential candidate generally know tomorrow's schedule at least a day in advance? Calling the lid first thing in the morning seems unplanned, almost as if you need to see how the candidate is doing that day. 45 days until the election, Joe Biden campaigns calls a lid at 8:35 a.m. From Steve Guest. Stephen L. Miller still can't get over how bizarre it is Biden called an 8:30 lid on the day after progressive icon passes away. This is where the Democrat nominee goes out, gives a speech on her legacy and the need to push forward, etc., etc., etc. No nominee until after the election, etc. Every network would carry it. Instead, nothing. Again, bizarre. Indeed, Stephen L. Miller, indeed. Weijia Jiang. There are 7 weekends left to campaign before Election Day. Tonight, the president is holding a rally in the battleground state of North Carolina. The Biden team called lid at 8:34 a.m., which means we won't see the former vice president for the rest of the day. From Ed O'Keefe reports the Biden move to lay low may seem odd or misguided, but his team disagrees. Of course, they have to disagree. They can't tell you what exactly is going on. As Senior Ed said, we've been through some high-pressure times before. What high time? This guy has been getting softball questions, and only as of yesterday was he given a hard question about his son, dealings with Ukraine, Burisma, and China. Hard times? No, he's been getting easy times. Times before, we're always deliberate about how we respond. People will question our tactics, and we will do our thing, meaning obfuscate, lie, and be extremely deceitful. Am I right? Trump criticized the frequency of Biden's lids, comparing Biden's days off to Trump's own hectic campaign schedule. Lid means he's not going to be anywhere today. I'm working my ass off. I'm in Ohio, Texas, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, Trump said at his rally in Pennsylvania on Tuesday night. President real Donald Trump ripped Joe Biden calling the lid early this morning. Lid means he's not going to be anywhere today. I'm working my butt off in Ohio, Texas, Florida, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Compared to Trump, Biden and his campaign have significantly lagged in participating in on-the-ground campaign activities. Whether it's holding fewer rallies or fewer attendees or refusing to take questions from reporters, Biden's lack of eagerness about his campaign is not lost on voters. And that is true. Even when Hillary was off her damn rocker, she was still out there. Not visiting Wisconsin, obviously. Not visiting Michigan, obviously. But we see what's going on here. According to Dr. Casey Sink, an assistant professor of gerontology and geriatric medicine at Wake Forest University School of Medicine, those struggling with cognitive decline can have good and bad days. And I've said this before, and we've seen this in the news where they call it sunsetting or sundowning, where someone who's old and up in their years will have a good morning. And then throughout the day, the cognitive abilities decline until the night. And I've seen this with my own grandmother, where cognitively speaking, she was really good in the morning, and then late afternoon, at night, she just started repeating the same stories, and there was something off and something wrong. There's something off and something wrong about this story where Biden is taking the day off. If you're trying to run for president, there is no necessarily days off. Niners are going to say, what about Trump and golfing? Yeah, but guess what? He's actually still working. You may agree, you may not agree. Continuing on, symptoms in dementia can wax and wane. People have good and bad days. Pain, changes in routine, and illness such as viruses or infections are all examples of things that can make symptoms worse temporarily. A study published by Cambridge University Press found that symptoms of cognitive decline, such as trouble formulating words, we all seen that, boys and girls, were often associated with bad days and could lead to lower functioning. Good days were typically associated with improved global cognition, function, interest, and initiation. Bad days were associated with frequent verbal repetition, poor memory, increased agitation, and other disruptive behaviors, the study reported or stated. So in conclusion, is this a silver bullet to his cognitive decline, his dementia, or these are all, I guess, suspected symptoms that Joe Biden has? No, but in my opinion, from what I've read and what I've seen, okay, over the many months of this knucklehead trying to run for president, he's out of his mind. He gets frustrated, and I noticed that with my own grandmother. Later in the night, she would get frustrated that she can't get something done, or she forgot something, or, you go, hey, Grandma, you told me that story. She'd be like, I know that, and she would get mad. That's all in the same ballpark for dementia, cognitive decline. So, again, if you're out there, if you're going to be voting here, you vote once, not twice, you vote once for president, I suggest voting for somebody, well, who's not out of his goddamn mind.